Hello and welcome to the Everything is Black and White podcast. Andrew Musgrave here. Please ensure you hit thumbs up and hit subscribe to the channel. As you can see, I am outside of the Stack up at St James's Park. What a wonderful sunny day it is here on Tyneside. You can hear the live music behind me. People will be in there enjoying a pint, enjoying some food on the afternoon. That it's been confirmed that planning permission has been granted to extend the Stack stay. So that's an easy for me to say, that's a bit of a mouthful there, to extend the Stack stay at St James's Park until 2031. So it only opened last year, and since then it's proved so popular. Matchday experience has been elevated, but the nightlife and hospitality offering to the city in general has gone up a notch as well since this came onto this very site. Back in 2023, it was given a 3-year stay. Obviously, like I say, it opened 12 months ago, but coming up to the first anniversary. And because of its popularity, the club, Stack, have got the council and said, can we extend it till 2031? And that has been approved. And no surprise, like I say, its popularity is through the roof. 100,000 visitors per month since it opened, employs nearly 200 people, and you've got loads of businesses in there, local businesses, food vendors as well, benefiting from the footfall. So not only is it a benefit to Newcastle United in terms of the money coming in, but it's also a benefit to the city's economy, which is really important in today's day and age when things are a little bit tough. And I always say, a prosperous city is beneficial for Newcastle United, and the Stack is playing a major part in that. So great news that has been confirmed. I mean, on match days, there's queues snaking right round the shipping containers. It's unbelievable when you walk up to the stadium very early on a match day. You have to get out of bed pretty early on to secure yourself a spot. Unfortunately, they can only show televised games here, but nonetheless, even when the games aren't on TV, it is absolutely packed out. I mean, there's been no football since May, and it's packed out every single weekend with live music, quizzes running through the week as well. It's just very popular, and it's been brilliant to see. We know the original site down on Pilgrim Street, which closed for development on that land, was always popular. I always enjoyed visiting there. It was a shame when it did close down. So to see this one open and prove so popular, it's been absolutely brilliant. But it was never in doubt, really. But like I say, great news for the economy and Newcastle United. We've got a statement from Brad Miller, Chief Operating Officer at Newcastle United, and he says the St James's Stack has been a fantastic addition to the city, and we're delighted to receive an additional 5 years of planning permission. As a dedicated fan zone, it has become a huge attraction for people attending matches and events at the stadium, but it's so much more than that. It has been incredibly popular with families, it has increased trade throughout the week, and it has created vital employment opportunities. It also provides an important revenue stream for the football club, which will continue to fuel our growth on and off the pitch. I'd like to thank the team at Stack and our city partners for their support and collaboration. We are excited to continue our work together, and of course it was really popular before Sam Fender took to St James's Park earlier this month. Fantastic news, brilliant to see. A lot of you guys are now wondering, what does it mean for the future of St James's Park? Because that is the big question everybody is asking. Will Newcastle United remain at St James's Park and expand, or will they move just over the road into Leazes Park? We haven't got any answers yet. Reports suggest that there will be some sort of decision made public towards the end of this month. That's just speculation at the moment. We all want answers. Of course, we do. This has been going on a very long time, but I have to say, I'm not too fussed about the delay in announcing what they're going to do. This is a massive decision for Newcastle United in terms of the emotion behind it, because a lot of people will be very angry to leave St James's Park. Others will be happy and think that a brand new stadium is the answer to meet the demand. There's no right answer. I don't think. I've got my opinions on it. I am now kind of set on moving into Leazes Park if that is what is going to happen. I think brand new modern day stadium is what Newcastle United need to meet the demand, but also to offer the chance to put on other events on a more regular basis, whether that be music, whether that be NFL, boxing, whatever. They have to tap into every single revenue stream, as some of the massive stadiums across the country do. But I also understand the want and desire to remain at St James's Park. I mean, I'm looking at it now, the back of the Gallagher there, shining in the sunshine, and it will hurt to move away from this fantastic venue. But in the world of football, where every single penny counts, sometimes you've got to make those tough decisions, and it's not a decision that I envy those in the corridors of St James's Park making. Who wants to make this decision? It is a horrible decision because, like I say, there's no right answer. You're not going to be able to please everybody, and no wonder they're taking the time, because it's not just about the emotion, it's also about the monetary decision, because it's going to cost a lot of money to expand and stay. It's going to cost a lot of money to go elsewhere and build. You can't afford to get this wrong. This is a once in a generation decision, and an expensive decision at that. You cannot afford to get this wrong. So take your time, make the right decision. Yes, we all want answers. We all want to know where Newcastle are going to call home throughout the rest of our lives, but take your time on making that decision. And I've got no qualms, like I say, if it's going to take an extra few weeks or months before we find out. But in terms of the news about the stack, I don't think it affects it at all. Now look, a lot of people quite rightly will point out that if they expand the Gallowgate, which is what people want to do, this land here will probably have to go, and that's where, you know, maybe they'll build a tunnel so the road goes through, because it's a major route to the hospital. But if they expand the Gallowgate, you would imagine that the stack would have to disappear. People say 2031, there's a timescale, so they'll not be doing anything until 2031. I don't think it impacts it at all. Gut feeling says they're going to move to Leazes Park anyway, but I certainly wouldn't look at the decision about the stack day and think that has any reference to what happens at St James's Park. And you've got to look as well at other big stadium expansions or stadium moves around the country. Timescale wise, there's no kind of method to it. Spurs first put in plans 2013, then revised plans were passed in 2016, then they moved 2019 into the stadium, so relatively quick turnaround there. But others have taken 10, 12 years to get it done. And with Newcastle United in the planning, it's so much red tape around it, because the move to Leazes Park, you've got to jump through so many hoops there, because there's a lot of people who care more about Leazes Park than they do St James's Park or when Newcastle call home, and that's fair. A lot of you guys watching that won't agree with that, but that's the reality of it. Not everyone in the city cares for Newcastle United like you or I do, and that's fair, and those people have got to be respected and talked with, negotiations, and everyone's got to get around the table. Newcastle have to do this by the book, which they will be doing. It's certainly not a case that Newcastle United just say, we want Leazes Park, away we go, and we have it, because it's protected as well, but also it's really important that everybody's view is heard. But the same with here, if they expand, there's so many things that you've got to look at, so many variables. I mean, can they even expand the Gallowgate that much? We know about the East Stand and the listed buildings around it. What about the road? Oh my God, it's such a headache. So that's why it might take a little bit more time than the Spurs project, and a little bit more time than other projects we've seen around the country over the last few years. But that's exactly why they will be taking their time to get the decision right, because they will be considering absolutely every single obstacle that will come in their way when they announce the decision that they will come to. So to wait on that. We've also got to wait on news about the badge redesign. Obviously, we had the first part of that survey a few weeks ago, just before the Chelsea game, wasn't it, that it was launched? And it was said that a second round would soon come out. We're still waiting on that second survey. Hopefully that'll come with a few ideas and a few designs so we can actually look at what is on offer. But what's more interesting is that these two major parts of Newcastle United that are most likely to cause upset are going to have to be done in a transition period where they're going to have a new CEO and a new sporting director. Now, sporting director-wise, not too much to say on the badge and location of St James's Park. I mean, St James's Park-wise, it's Brad Miller who's overseeing that, but the CEO is massive in this, and Darren Eales, of course, battling illness. We wish him well. He is going to leave the club at some point. No timescale, but it would probably make sense to happen. You would think this summer. Paul Mitchell's going, those two are quite close. So a total reset in the boardroom. And it's going to be really interesting how they release this news, how they cover the news, and then the steps after that, when they are going through this transitional period of replacing, the top dogs in the boardroom. There's no word on when Darren Eales will leave. There's no word on his replacement. They have been looking. There's a recruitment agency looking to get that person involved. There's been the Manchester United CEO linked, and others linked to the job, but nothing yet, on the table, nothing yet official. That hopefully will come sooner rather than later, because I think once you get the CEO in place, you can get the sporting director in place, and then you can really kick on long term with your projects. But really interesting to see how those who are on the board during this transitional period handle it, because it's not going to be easy, is it? Not going to be easy at all to have an outgoing CEO and then to be dealing with two very emotive subjects when it comes to a new badge and a new stadium. So it's going to be very, very interesting just to see what happens with that. Transfer-wise, I know there's a lot of frustration, but patience is the key word here. Patience is the key word. We always want to see early signings. That is ideal, but patience, just be patient with it. And I know it's easy for me to say, but But I'm a fan, just like you guys, and I would love to have seen one or two big names through the door already. I do think next week, last week of June, is when we'll start to see a bit of movement when it comes to Newcastle United. Maybe they'll look to take advantage of Aston Villa, as I said earlier, in the week. And then July, I think we'll see things really kick on. João Pedro, Anthony Elanga, Mark Gay, I still think are top of the list. And I know there was reports yesterday that Chelsea have stolen in on Newcastle United and are looking to close on a deal for João Pedro, who wants to move to London. But something tells me that deal's still in Newcastle's hands. I think Newcastle are still front of the queue, and hopefully with the right sales pitch they can get him to St James's Park, because he would be a good addition. Yes, I've got my concerns over attitude and discipline. I don't like the fact he leads with his elbow sometimes. I don't like that at all, but he's a talented player. And Eddie Howe, remember, put the worries to bed about Anthony Gordon's discipline and attitude. Plenty of people raised that when he signed for Meriton, and Anthony Gordon's become a very, very good player for Newcastle United. So Eddie Howe's magic will hopefully iron out any issues with João Pedro if he does sign. Anthony Elanga, get him through the door, big fan of him. And then Mark Gay as well. I mean, they would be three massive, massive signings. A lot of money spent on those three if they were to happen. But my goodness me, they would certainly boost Newcastle United's squad in what is going to be a hectic season. Champions League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup and Premier League. But certainly Newcastle United need to strengthen this summer. Give Eddie Howe the tools to really get going and start the season with a bang. Well, obviously, we didn't really get going until the 12th of December. Well, after the 12th of December last season, that defeat to Brentford. But we saw what Newcastle United could really do when they got the momentum behind them. And giving anyhow the players to start that momentum early on would be absolutely brilliant. Shall we sign off on talks about Alexander Isak? I don't really want to waste your time, to be quite honest, because it's absolute nonsense. Talk that Liverpool are going to put a bid in over £116 million, which seems a little bit too specific for me. But what I will say on that, there's a couple of things, right? First off, Newcastle hold the cards here. Alexander Isak is happy. He's got Champions League football. He's just won a cup. He's a star here. He's in line for a new contract. Okay, so unless he goes knocking on the door and says, I want to leave, Newcastle United are in a strong position. He's contracted till June 2028, and I don't think Alexander Isak's going to push to leave. I think, at least for the next year, you can be pretty certain he's going to be a Newcastle United player. Secondly, Liverpool have just splashed £160 million on a player. So how on earth are they going to find another £116 million to splash on Isak? And, by the way, £116 million, are you having a joke? That would get you his foot, at best. If Liverpool are serious about buying Alexander Isak from Newcastle United, pick up the phone, and for me, £150 million is what you need to put down just for Newcastle United to answer the phone or return the email, or is it fax or still, who cares? £150 million at least. He is that good. He is the best striker in the Premier League. Right? We know how good Haaland is, but all round, it's Alexander Isak. And if Liverpool signed Alexander Isak, just end the title bid. End the title race, because they win it. There's no bid. They just win it with Alexander Isak. They will know that. They will have scouted him, they watch him. I mean, look how we terrorised them in the League Cup, and we saw that beautiful goal against Van Dijk up here at St James's Park early in the season. He is that good. But, knowing that, putting the report together, you've got to pay for players who are that good. And for me, £150 million only gets the phone picked up. I think you'd be closer to £200 million. I know people scoff at my evaluations, but he's that good. He's that good. That's why I'm putting £200 million on him. You want him? Pay the money. He is that good. He would guarantee you a title. Newcastle United are no longer mugs when it comes to selling players. They will know how much Alexander Isak is worth. I mean, you can't sell him. You need to build around him. But also, if he pushes to go, which I don't think he will do, but if he does, they have the power to charge what they like. And I would, honestly, £200 million is where I would start in terms of talking about an acceptable bid. But crazy money, and putting that crazy money on his head means no one's going to bid for him. Liverpool can't afford that, and there's no other club in the world that can afford that. But he is that good. So hopefully he remains at St James's Park, which I think he will do. Newcastle United need him. He's happy. He's got no qualms. Get a few players in, and that will make him even happier. Imagine Anthony Elanga on the wing, supplying his fellow countrymen the crosses for the goals. Beautiful. What more could you ask for, Alexander? Stay at Newcastle United. You're going to be a legend. Maybe get the number 9 shirt, who knows. But yeah, no worries over Alexander Isak to Liverpool. Absolute nonsense. Don't believe it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, enjoy your Thursday. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Hit thumbs up, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you guys very soon.